perfect.
So are you saying that the tree of death is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil?
That's what they try to.
I'm just saying like a metaphor. The tree of death is greed and corruption that leads to hell, or the tree of immortality.
What is hell?
Hell is death.
And what is
greed?
So yeah, you get, that's half of the equation, but that's worldly. That's what I feel like hell is, being stuck in the outside,
like a cycle,
the matrix, the whatever you want to call it. I feel like that's what hell is.
Do we create hells for ourselves based
Yes.
on how we treat ourselves?
It's the descending energy, so it's the negative
The negative.
emotions. It's fear.
Instead of being positive, fear. Okay, so there's fear and love. That's what that is. So being in love all the time, you
It's
don't.
being fearless.
Is being fearless. Literally, you're supposed to be fearless because that's not. It's natural, but we aren't all that. You know what I mean? We're not fear. We are fearless.
Do you think a lot of in society they push a narrative of fear? They try to keep people in fear.
Oh yeah, the news, all this stuff you're consuming. It's
Yeah.
to keep you in a constant state of fear, having to pay the bills every month,
Constant
to
chaos.
keep you constant chaos.
So, like in New York, they have all these big signs, big lights to drain your energy, to control your time.
To push out stuff, to control, you know, like there is no day or night there. It's always moving. It's that constant movement.
A farmer,
A stimulation.
a farmer can only work with the tools he has. If all the tools he's given, because through our eyes and other senses we consume information, and we can only create ideas with the tools we are given or the information we're given. Just as a farmer with the tools he makes can only make what he has the tools for.
Okay, and so then we create new tools when we create
But
new
the old
tools.
ones don't work. You create new tools.
And I think also getting exposed to certain ideas, that's what helps you create new tools. Because without information of a new tool, you can't create a new tool, or information of how a tool works or what problem you need to solve. You cannot create that tool.
Yeah, you can, because it comes from somewhere.
But you have to find a problem before you can find the solution, right?
Yeah, you gotta see that there is a problem in order for you to create a new tool. Otherwise, you would stay using.
So that
old
awareness in society, why do you think so many people in society aren't aware of it?
tool. They are, but they're not. You know,
Okay.
everybody's aware of it. You just either
What
trust
level?
it.
Oh, trust it. What do
You
you
either
mean by
trust, like the faith. You either trust that.
Or they trust what's worked in the past, even when the systems of the past aren't working anymore.
That's insane.
It's just like
literally.
you guys break this tool thing down a little bit more, okay? So because we're kind of up here right
Okay.
now, so let's put it onto a really rational level. A hammer doesn't become obsolete. You just use it less when a nail gun is created.
Yep.
Okay, so all of these tools, we have really old tools. So, like the compass that ships used to use to navigate with. Well, they don't have to use those anymore. There have been new tools that have replaced them, right?
Apple Maps.
But some of the times when tools are created, they take us farther away from nature, when the whole goal is to bring us back to the earth again.
But I feel like that has to happen. We have to isolate, get away from nature in order to get pushed back in, because
That's when we realized there was a problem, and also advanced technologically wise. The technology we have wouldn't have been created if it wasn't for the wars, wasn't for money, wasn't for the promotion of what got us to this point. But now that we have technology, what direction are we going to go? How are we going to use it? Are we going to use robots to kill each other in wars for profit, so people can continue to sell robots that will then get destroyed? Or are we going to focus on having these robots plant food for people that don't have food? Food isn't free right now, but we're already creating robots. What if we just implemented those robots in harvesting the land?
I feel
Use
like
solar
that's-
panels to power these robots each night.
That's where it's headed. I
And
mean,
God helps it as well. I mean, God gives us water, so then boom, we have water, so the robots don't have to water it every night.
we have everything that we need here. We've always had it. It's just the greed that takes away from it.
The greed, as in somebody wants to feel more valuable than
Valuable
another.
power, you know that.
So ego, would that be ego?
Ego.
Wanting to be better
yeah,
than
it's
another?
all the same. You
Ego
know,
creates power in the meta.
it doesn't. It gives you a sense of power. It doesn't create power. I promise you that.
Okay, yeah.
It can create power.
Gives you
because-
a desire to have power.
in a sense, yes. That's why when
False
people
power, I guess.
false power.
Control.
There you go.
Control. Like,
There you go.
because you know we were talking about control at the game.
Yep.
You know, you break down the word control and
Yeah.
it comes from counting. Okay, so what needs to be counted? We already have these logistics in place that are counting things, that are counting people, that are counting and getting the goods, the goods, right? The food to the places where the people are. So it's calculating the population in a certain area. And I feel like I know people have been talking about, well, if this isn't our reality anymore, if this world that we created isn't going to continue in this direction anymore, then there's going to be a repopulation of the earth in that some people say an exodus, right? But there's going to be where people want to live in different areas. So then you have to take the value of which areas, where is it going to become,
The most valuable.
yeah, where do people want to live? And this comes down to real estate, where the value is, right? Because the
Resources.
desire for something makes it more valuable than another place. So then the building up in certain areas, just like in Florida and California, and New York, you see that the buildings and the apartments and the
It's going up
versus
because they
the
can.
Midwest, right? The Midwest is more spread out in real
For now.
estate.
For now.
Well, you think that the Midwest will get more populated as
Do you
time
see
goes?
Sioux Falls? Do you see how Sioux Falls is growing?
Why though?
Why? Because we're growing. It has to grow with us.
Well, Sioux Falls is built on banking and farming and medical, right? The medical industry. So when you have the monies dissolving, so then the banks are dissolving, then the population will decrease, won't it?
If money continues to
same
stay in
with-
place, it would grow. But since money is dissolving, it will eventually fall. as
And
well.
same with the medical industry. You see that the medical industry, people are discovering health again, and so they're avoiding the
Don't
medical
need
industry.
doctors.
Right. You don't need them in the same way. There's it's funny because you listen to music, right? And what are the advertisements that come on when you listen to music? It's all for medical. It's all
Depression.
medical. Yeah.
You know why? Because I've learned through music that is my doctor. Kendrick, J. Cole, these conscious rappers, they call them, those are doctors. Tupac.
Because they raise your frequency
They
instead
raise
of
your-
lower your frequency. So what happens in between when you're listening to
You're hearing
Um,
music that makes you sick because it's talking about negative things, and then they prescribe you the medication. You're gonna listen to low frequency music that these rappers are making, and then you can feel sick. It'll make you depressed, make you think, "Oh, I don't have that Lamborghini. I don't have the Ferrari that they're talking about. I don't have all this money." But in that state where you're listening to it, you're thinking, "Oh, I have all this." It gives you like that ego kind of boost,
There you
and
go.
then once it's off,
That
you hit that
choice.
loneliness where you no longer have that because you're not hearing it anymore. You're not consuming that music that is giving you that sense of wealth, and then it's like now you feel less about yourself, and then a depression thing comes on because you not feel depressed because you don't realize I'm driving a Honda Accord, I'm not driving a Ferrari, and then boom, you take the
Whose fault is that?
medication
Okay,
because they're
so-
prescribing it because
well,
you not feel
that's-
depressed because the music
It's
they're
not-
giving you the problem and this like
the solution. It's
it's
your
the virus,
choice.
yeah.
It's your choice to see the solution or to dwell on the problem.
So I'm curious with what purpose and whose intention is behind the advertisement that tries to sell people on being sick.
Government.
What's the purpose of that?
probably the same people who told us we were sick for COVID, all the pharmaceutical companies, all the biggest drug dealers and
Because
cartels
what?
in the world
Because why
who
they
shook
make
hands and
money.
said,
Because
yeah,
they make money
Power.
from that.
make money,
That's
exactly.
how they stay in
Let's push
power.
out, let's tell everyone they're sick, let's work with the government, we'll make money, we'll fund them, we'll give them all this, and then they have to now come to us for their for the drugs, whether it's the COVID pill now, the vaccine, all these boosters,
And not just
COVID
that,
pill?
what
They have a
happened
pill now, yeah.
what happened after COVID, okay, is that the advertisements that come on are skin rashes. Okay. And all
Was
of
that
these
caused by
other
the vaccine?
all of-
Who knows?
okay, and all of these other autoimmune diseases, right? That come from where? Where did these all of a sudden come from right after there was an entire vaccine propaganda initiative?
Man-made
Yeah.
system just
Mhm.
to create more money.
Mhm.
John 3:3 plays perfectly into here.
Like
Unless
never.
one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So these people in the old world are all hypnotized into money, depression, war. Now in the new world, they're for health as well.
What is
Okay, and so how do you
Health.
get to be born again? What's the process of being born again?
You have to understand that materialism is all gonna fade. You have to understand that
What does materialism mean?
Lamborghini, stuff
Worldly.
like that.
What if
Worldly.
everybody has a Lamborghini? I mean, will that make everybody happy, or will it
Well,
not
the reason the
have the
rappers are rapping
desire?
about this Lamborghini is because not everyone has it. It's the idea of I have this, it makes me
And you
better.
don't.
I think the
Scarcity.
materialism is
Scarcity builds value.
building
Oh, yeah.
building the value, building a false value on things that because other people don't have them. It's like the ownership kind of.
that scarcity value that you just said, right? We're looking at material things to find that value, but then once you realize that you are scarce, nobody else is exactly like you. You are the value. The rappers, they seen that a long time ago. That's why they've been grinding. That's why they did all that,
Yeah.
and then they materialized it. It started within.
Okay, so then this comes into the basics of an economy, creating a supply and a demand, right? And so making sure that there's a lot of Toyota Corollas, but less Lamborghinis, right? So
Because then they can charge more. Just
and
for
then it's
exclusivity.
the price. How do you say the
Price gouging.
the price gouging on something to make it more desirable, even right? So where
big brands.
where does this value placement come in? What do people want?
Money.
perceived.
Money is the
It's-
value of the world right
It's
now.
perceived value.
The perceived value of the
There
world.
you
Yes.
go. It's not real value.
Be
because-
impeccable with your word. That's
I would say that it costs the same amount of money to make the Toyota Corolla and the Lamborghini.
Yep.
It's just the brand name,
perceived value
like
of
the
brand.
Supreme.
Exactly. They perceive Louis V. They have this perception.
Yeah, same.
They push it out.
Same material.
Same.
Just different logo. Just
different
like
logo.
just like the wars, Palestine.
Perceive. It's
Ukraine.
the perception. They want to control the perception. They don't want us to have that
Power.
side.
Power.
Is it
Knowledge is power.
Is it because you brought up Palestine? Is it because of the real estate value? They're on the sea, so they want to make the housing better, and they have a huge opportunity to change the housing because
Revolutionize.
because right, it was more of a desolate place, and they want to make it this resort-like atmosphere instead. So this is a huge real
Why would they
estate
want it to be a
developer's
resort?
dream
Because that's the natural
because
state.
it's on the sea.
That's the natural state of
I
it.
think
Why
people are
wouldn't
gonna
it
spend
be?
money there, right? And that's gonna make them more money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm struggling seeing the big picture.
The big picture.
Yeah. It's good to know what we're struggling about because everyone's not perfect.
No, I know. That's the big picture right there. We're not perfect, but that's what makes us perfect. You are uniquely you. We all make the same mistakes,
Yeah.
but people just try to act like they're better than their mistakes.
The ego.
Their ego. That is the big picture. We are the big picture.
And we're reborn again so we can see the kingdom of heaven.
Not see it. You're living in it.
Yeah, you're
You,
creating
you're
it.
you're seeing it.
You're
but-
creating it and you're rippling it out.
Exactly. That's what we're doing. As we're living in it, we're amplifying it because we're living, feeling, seeing it. It's not just seeing it. Some people see it,
We are.
but we are it. Exactly.
We're built in
We
our
are.
foundation.
We are the kingdom.
And how do you start communicating? Just like this, right?
Slow is fast.
Fast is slow.
Well, here's the
Literally.
thing. Something that is going to stick has to come slow.
Yep.
What you have a quote about that?
I don't know, just if it can be obtained quickly, it will be
You'll
vanished
leave
quickly.
even quicker. When you get a check, when you start working, you get a check every week. You're gonna spend it every Friday. You get that check.
The more money you make, the more money
The
you
more
spend.
money you make, not
Depending-
necessarily
depending
how
on the
fast.
person, yeah.
It's just how fast you get it.
Yeah.
If it takes you forever to get that money, you're gonna spend it a bit more wisely.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
this podcast gaining traction slow and slow, it's gonna just grow fast when it's time.
Because it's going slow, you're building a foundation.
Mhm.
You have to build that foundation. But if you rush through it, you won't have a foundation for it to grow. But every week, every day you're doing this, you're building.
Yep, and so it's just like the house that's built on the rock will stand. If you build a house on sand,
It's gonna crumble.
yeah.
You are the rock.
But
The rock.
that's not necessarily true today, because look at all of the land that's sand in the desert, right? We have built the tools. This is where tool building comes back in. Okay, we built the tools in order
To
for
build on
them
sea.
to last.
And they look at Dubai,
Exactly.
man-made islands. But that's why I'm saying you are the rock. You can mold. Like they molded a bunch of sand and they got it. They made it into actual land.
Now we can mold a
No.
bunch of wisdom.
We can mold together. We can build together. But we gotta cut that. That greed out of there. We gotta cut that. We just gotta be selfless.
Yeah.
But you gotta be selfish to be selfless.
Where?
You understand?
Yeah.
You gotta make sure
I think
you
a big argument people have had would be not everyone can do that. Not everyone wants to do that.
everybody can do that. It's exactly they don't want to. It's that choice.
So my question: why do people not want to do that?
Greed.
Okay, so I'm going to read something here that I have written. This says, the cures of the 7 deadly sins. All right, so the 7 deadly sins are envy, lust,
I
gluttony,
have an anime
greed,
about this.
sloth, wrath, and pride.
With Full Metal Alchemist or something, or Seven Deadly Sins.
Seven. They're called the 7 deadly sins. But sorry,
That's okay. Temperance cures gluttony. Contentness and charity.
What is temperate?
Temperance?
Being right.
Temperance. Okay.
Just-
And so defining.
I feel like time without food. You spend time fasting. That helps
Being.
with gluttony.
I feel like just maybe appreciating.
Appreciate the value of how much food brings. Because when you're fasting from it, you realize,
You don't eat a lot.
yeah,
you
Because
know?
Exactly.
what is gluttony? Do you understand the
eating just for the
Overconsumption.
flavor rather than for actual nutrients.
Overconsumption.
But even if you eat, let's say you eat nothing for 3 days, but you eat like 20 pieces of pizza, that's not healthy for you. So that's
That's-
so gluttonous.
that's
Even though
gluttony
you need
because-
energy, that's so gluttony because you're not eating something that's actually nutritionally beneficial. Even if you're not eating a lot, it's what
You're
you
eating
eat
it for
that
the
matters.
enjoyment of.
And
of it.
really, I feel like when you eat too much and get into this habit of eating too much, you said for the taste, but what actually happens is that you lose the taste. You lose the
Oh,
taste
wow.
of food. So then, and that's what temperance is the quality of moderation or self-restraint. So this is like
Yeah, the first
in
bite's
a-
always the best, probably.
in a fast, which is a really appropriate time to do this podcast right now because the Muslims are in Ramadan, right?
Yeah.
And they're fasting, and then the Christians are in Lent,
Yeah.
or is that a Catholic thing, or is
I
that
think it's.
Okay. I think it's definitely Catholic, maybe
Yeah.
Christian too,
Yeah,
where
I've
they
heard it.
observe Lent, and so that is also a giving up of something, right? A fasting.
A dying off of something, basically giving up something.
So it's learning temperance again. So temperance cures gluttony. Contentness and charity cures greed. So we've got these. We were just talking about greed, right? Greed was a big thing, and so this is a one huge problem in the world, is people are giving through charities. They're creating charities in order to keep more for themselves, like through
Yep.
tax deductions,
Yep.
right? So is that really true charity?
No,
No.
they're doing it for evasion. They're doing it because of they're so greedy that they're gonna find a workaround to keep.
They manipulate
Every-
the systems,
Exactly.
right?
And with their time, they speak more with their time, because to them, once they reach that high value of money, time to them matters more than that. What are they doing with their time? Are they? How much are they actually going out and like handing food to homeless people with their time?
They're not
No,
doing
they're
Yeah.
spending time creating bills to arrest the people that are feeding the homeless instead. So diligence or zeal cures sloth. Okay, what's diligence and zeal? It's the excitement to do. So whatever, and this slowly has been taken away from people over time, right? Like I just mentioned, people feeding the homeless, they get excited because they can help, because it cures their sloth. Their sloth is the inability to act, either laziness, right, or inability to act, because they see a huge problem. So when somebody gets excited, diligent, or zealous about taking care of something, but when the laws are in place to say, no, you can't do what you're excited about to do to solve a problem, even if you're trying to solve it on a microscopic scale, then you become slothful again, because you're like, how did this problem come into existence? And I'm trying to take care of the problem because I'm trying to give my time as charity, my food, my donations as charity. But then the law is saying, no, we can't do this. Then what we have a problem with the law.
Not with ourselves. It's always been us against the law. The laws are there to keep us under them, literally. It's there to maintain control. It's all there. But why are we letting people that are about to honestly they're about to pass? Most of them are old, they're dusty, to be honest. Like, why are we letting them dictate our future if they're not going to be in that future?
But they've hypnotized everyone else. Everyone else is still carrying, like, regulations are immortal.
Oh, no, they're not. No, we make them immortal.
Laws get changed all of the time.
All the time.
It's just what laws are in place that are not causing goodness anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're building on the foundation of things, right? And so when your foundation is understood to be spoiled, then it's like a weed, right?
House of
And
Cards.
so understanding that it's the weed, and the weed needs to be pulled out by the root. You can't leave a piece of the root, otherwise it will regrow again. So this is where we're at in the world.
So regulations are immortal unless the humans rise up and
Well,
understand.
that means that it's not immortal.
It's not immortal.
Yeah.
We can make it immortal, but us right now, this new generation, we know that it's not. We know that
It's changing.
It's changing, that we've changed it.
And coming to the
Yeah.
conclusion that it's in a constant state of change, understanding it's more of a instead of a rigid set of laws, it needs to be more fluid in the point that we're changing the direction of the purpose. So the purpose before was created to keep people in line because people didn't know how to stay in line. Well, now, in order to create a different environment, you have to create a fluidity of what we've considered laws, structure, right, in order to help people heal.
So with getting
That's
out of
the goal.
laws, I saw that there was an experiment done with these rats. They would give these rats cocaine and then gave them as much cocaine as they would want. Eventually these rats would take so much cocaine they'd kill themselves and overdose. Well, the experiment was they took these rats, and after they exposed them cocaine one time, they put them in this giant cage with a bunch of other rats. They had hamster wheels, they had a bunch of things for the rats to pretty much have paradise. These rats all quit doing cocaine.
Mm-hmm. So they change the environment,
They change
and then
the
they help the
environment,
environment heal. And that's exactly what is happening in the world. This shift that's happening in the world. Some people are way over here on this side
Global
still,
warming.
and some people are way over here on this side. And what we're saying is that no, nobody was absolutely wrong. It's just that we're finding a better way. So let's ascend to this other realm, out of all of the hurt, the pain, the bad environment.